Hi YouTube, I'm here with an Excel tutorial for you today. This is a course of study planning document that I use when I am getting ready to look ahead to my next homeschool year. And some of you are already way ahead of me on this and you have stuff picked out and purchased and ready to go. But I'm just kind of starting to look ahead and see what I'm going to use for the 2018-2019 school year. So I created this document a couple of years ago just so that I could keep all of my information in one place for each subject, what I was looking at using, what the price was going to be, and then I can mark it off if I own it so that I don't buy things twice, which has never happened to me before. But then I could kind of keep track of what we'd used in the past and what we were planning on using. So this is a document that I created in Excel, and some of you have asked for some Excel tutorials. If it's not something that you use on a regular basis, it seems super intimidating. And I learned a ton just by watching my husband do stuff in Excel, and then I used it a lot as a classroom teacher, and I love it. It's easy to make things look really nice. It's easy to change things. It has the math functions that are built in for you, and it's usually my go-to document when I'm creating a table or a chart or something like that. If you are already an Excel pro, please just skip this part, because this is just going to really be as kind of super simple as I can explain some of these things. So if you like the course of study sheet, download it, use it, change it, whatever you want. But if you're not familiar or comfortable with Excel and you would like to learn, I'm going to try and give you some of just my beginner's tips and tricks. So that's what we're going to work on here in this video. This document will be available on my blog. So if you want to click the links below, and it will take you there to my printables, and you can use anything for your family and change it to fit your family's needs. So this is what the document looks like kind of in its entirety. But what I'm going to do is go up here and close my print preview so you can see what it actually looks like in my Excel screen. And hopefully my screen capture software will be nice. There you go, and it will work with me. So here is Andrew's completed one for 3rd grade. And then I'm going to show you a blank sample so I can show you how to edit some of the things. I like to use lots of fun fonts and things like this that I download for free. So when you download your sample, it's going to just all be a basic Arial font. So it's really easy and it should transfer to every computer platform that you might be using. But this is how I use his. So you can see where I'm putting in things, and then I'm starting to accumulate costs, and I've purchased a couple of things, or I already had them, or whatever it is, so I can mark those off. Over here, I just am putting a kind of an ongoing list of science books that we're going to use. They're kind of separate from the traditional curriculum. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you what your sample is going to look like when you download it from the blog. So this is going to be it in this form, and it will be blank, and so you can change things as often as you want to. The first thing that I'm going to show you is if you want to make more than one Excel sheet, you can do that without having 5 different workbooks. If you have 5 kids that you're homeschooling, you don't have to have 5 separate documents. You can have 5 tabs all within the same planning document. So this is every year of school that Andrew has had planned for him so far. And this is the sample year. So let's say I want to add Laura into this document. Okay, if I want to add Laura into this document and I don't want to recreate this sheet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this sample tab down here. I'm going to click move or copy. It's going to pull up all those sheets that are already in this workbook. I'll move it to the end. I want to create a copy. Say okay, and here's another one. So then I can go in, rename this one Laura, and then I can do her course of study that way as well. So you could have one of these for each kid. You can have one for each year, and you're going to get an exact duplicate of what you do. So right click, move or copy, put where you want to put it. You can actually put it into a new book if you do want to start a new Excel document, but you can just make as many tabs here as you want. So that's kind of my first tip. Let's go back to our sample page. When you click in an Excel box and you start typing, it's going to delete what's there. So if I want to change the name of this to homeschool curriculum, I got to spell and type and talk all at the same time, so bear with me here on that. You can do that. As soon as you click click in a box, it's going to change it. If you want to come up here and edit it, you can click up here in the box, homeschool curriculum for Phillips, whatever, that's her last name. You can edit things up here. You can go to this one. So you're going to go through and change your subject. So let's say your first subject is going to be reading. And then you're going to come down and click in this box. You can change this one to math. Come down here, change this one to science. Come down here, change this one to history, Bible, and let's see, my last one is always other, and I'm missing a curriculum. We'll just put in spelling for something different. Oops, I have a random X here. We'll just delete that by clicking in the box and hitting the delete key. So now you've added all of your samples. I'm going to delete these 2 rows because I was messing with stuff. Here we go. I'll show you that here in a second. So now you have all of your content areas. So you did the same thing. Yours will have 2 in each row when you get it, and then you can add and delete as you need to. So for reading, let's say I'm using next year with him, he'll be doing some reading comprehension stuff. So let's say I'm going to do reading comprehension workbook. And let's say that workbook, if I buy it, is going to cost me $10. So I'm going to put 10 over here in this column, and then I'm going to just click out of my box. So this will already be formatted for you to figure out the dollar amount and to total it up down here. If you're creating an Excel document on your own and you want to do something different, if you click into a box and then you right click, come down here to format cells, and then choose currency, then when you type a number like 6 into this box, it's going to change it to a dollar amount. Okay. If you want this whole column to be currency, like my column B is, you can select the whole column, currency, and then any number, 2, 10, 15, 17, 102, 103, whatever I'm typing in there, is all going to come into be currency for you. Okay, so that's one quick tip. I'm just going to delete those columns. When I'm deleting columns, I'm just highlighting them, and then I'm right clicking and hitting delete, and it will delete the columns for you. Okay, so you're going to be able to write in each of these boxes. What I did is I made just white blank space for you to fill in your curriculum, and then the bottom of each box for each subject is going to be your total cost. So if I would add, let's say I'm going to get him chapter books, a chapter book set that I'm going to have him read, and that chapter book set is going to be $40. When I click out of the box, it's going to automatically add those for you. You can see the formula up here is the sum of B6 and B7, which are these 2 columns, B6 and B7. Okay? So it's going to add those up for you. Again, that's a super handy feature. You'll notice then when you're messing with this on your own that this column C is all the way totaled down here so that you have a running total. You can see what you're spending in each category, and then you can see your running total for the year. So let's say if you know for math you're buying, or science you're buying a curriculum that's $45, and then you have to buy the lab kit that's $60, you're spending $105 on science, and that's totaling, adding $155 to your grand total down here. So those columns will be done for you. You'll just add in your numbers, and it will be done. Let's say you need a third reading column. You're going to come down here to row 8. You're going to right click and you're going to say insert, and it's going to insert a column for you, or a row, sorry. It'll insert the next row for you. So then you can add writer's workshop DVD, and let's say that's $50. Notice it did not change my formula down here because my formula is set to B6 plus B7. If you double click in this cell, it will tell you your formula again, and it's going to give you this little box. This is super simple. All you do is grab this corner, drag it down, and hit enter. And now it's been added into your formula down here. You can do that as many times as you want to. If you delete this row, it will go away. your formula will go back to B6 plus B7. So all I'm doing is double clicking in my box for my formula to show up and then hit escape to leave my box. Okay, so that's really simple. So you can add as many rows as you want by right clicking and then insert. If I right click right here and this little skinny divider row, I'm going to get a blue row. It's going to give you the row above it. It's going to match the same formatting. So that's the only thing that you need to be aware of. The other thing that's super handy, and I noticed it when I inserted up here, is I don't have my lines in my formatting here, but if I take and Control C, drag all the way along, I'm sorry, not Control C, click, drag all the way along, then Control C to copy, I can bring it down here and paste, and it will bring my whole line down with me. I'm still going to have to go in and change my sum, but then I can go in and put in my writer's workshop DVD that I had typed in or whatever. So you can copy lots of things over easily to keep some of your same formatting. The other thing you can change obviously is colors. I usually color code my kids to be their color. So my son is usually green. So I'm just clicking and holding to highlight everything I want to change. Then I'm coming up here to my little paint can to choose the color that I want. And I can change all of my colors as well. So you can change and have a different color for each kid, or you can just change your colors if you don't like what I picked anyway. So that makes things a lot more simple. So it's easy to change the text. Click in the box, change your text. It's easy to change the color. If you're doing more than one box at a time, again, just left click, hold it down so that you can have whatever you want. And then change your color or change your font. Okay, we talked about adding tabs. I'm just kind of making sure I hit all of the high points. We inserted rows. You can do the same thing to insert columns. If you want another column here, you can insert a column this way and it will continue your formatting for you. One thing that I was just thinking before I said that, oh, you can change the width of all of these columns up here. So if I want to change column E, this is my own column, so I put a little X or a check mark in here when I purchase each curriculum item. If you hold here, you're going to have a little width box that's going to pop up. You can adjust the width of this column. You can make it wider. You can make it narrower. You will see that when I did that, this dotted line popped up. This is my page width. So you're now over the set margins for one page. So that's a good thing to look at. And when you have your margins set right now, if you go to page layout, my margins are set at 0 all the way around because I want as much space on this document as I can have. That brings me to kind of point number 2. And when you're doing this, if you want to print this and take this to a homeschool convention, or you want to take it to a book swap or whatever it is that you're doing, you obviously want to print this page out. So when you come up here, or however you get to your print, you're going to go probably to print preview. So you have this nice little document here. You'll notice, and again, I'm not an Excel expert. I know what I've learned by trial and error and by watching other people do this. This says 1 of 2 down here. And if you go to the next page, there's nothing there. Formatting changes things and Excel gets wonky, and that's my only issue with just flat out giving you guys an Excel document, because it's easy to kind of get things all off kilter. But I trust that you can handle it. So what you're going to do is I'm going to go to, there's a couple different things you can do. You can go to page setup and go back to your page, and you can fit everything to 1 by 1, but it ends up making it really small like this, which you don't want. You want it to be the full size of your sheet. So if I come back over here to my page setup, I want this to be 100% of my normal size. You have a couple of different options. When you come over here to click print, you can choose to print page 1 to 1. And then obviously it's only going to print that page. The other thing that you can do is you can highlight your actual document, come up here again to your print screen, and then you can print the selection, which is only going to print what is highlighted. So if I preview that, now I have this 1-page document. So I'd like to be able to tell you all the tips and tricks to just make it one page when that's all you have. But I'm going to tell you the workaround because that's more than likely what's going to happen and what you're going to see. So those are kind of the two ways that you can get it to nicely fit on this perfect little one-page document. Then you can print this out, you can take it to your book sale, and you know exactly what you're looking for. So we'll close out of that, and I'll click off of my selection. If you have questions or you want to know how I do something, I can definitely try and help you in the comments below. Like I said, this is not my first language as far as technology. I just have learned to use it, and it really has become super helpful. If you look at my printables, this will be up there, my year at a glance planning document, and my checklist, and actually my calendar. All four of those documents were all created in Excel. And if this is helpful for you, I would be more than happy to try and do some other tutorials. I am going to be revamping some stuff for curriculum next year, and I'll be having a first and third grader. So my first grader obviously is going to have more than she did as a kindergartner. So I'm kind of figuring out how that's going to look in my own little world. And if you guys would like a tutorial of that, I would be more than happy to do this. I know it seems super intimidating, but just what I would do is go in, play with it, mess around, figure out what questions you have, see if you can kind of work through some of these things. And then even if you delete this first download and go back and redo it and just start over once you get comfortable, if you feel like it's getting really screwed up, just do that. It just takes a while to kind of play around with things and figure out what is comfortable for you and what you feel comfortable doing. One other thing, I'm just kind of trying to think in my head what sometimes people have questions about. You'll notice this first box spans A through F. Okay, this is something that's helpful that you will want to know how to do. If I come over here and I type homeschool curriculum for Phillips, whatever, I'm going to go back to my course of study because it's shorter and I can see it better. I want this centered. Well, how do I center it in my document? You're going to click and hold, and then you're going to come up here and click merge and center, and it's going to turn that all into one cell. This one is the same. Okay, so that's another handy tip. Then you can use, and you can, if you want to move it up or down or left or right, you can do all of those kind of things here with the centering. You can change the course of your text if you're doing little columns this way and you want to have your text go vertically, you can change your text there. So there's lots of different things that you can do. Let me show you one other trick, and then I think we'll be about done. If you have lots of text in one box, and it is going to be longer than the box, you can wrap your text. Okay, so if this happens to you, then you come up here and you click wrap text, and it will make your row tall enough to accommodate the text that you have here. This kind of stuff drives me nuts because then this row is bigger than this row. But sometimes it just, you have to do it, or you have to, make this one longer, but you can't always do that. But that's one way that you can wrap your text. One other thing, which might not be super applicable to this sheet, is let's go back to our format or our currency over here. If I'm going to add all of these numbers up, I can highlight them, give myself an empty box, come over here and click auto sum, and it's going to add all of my numbers for me. Okay, so that would be helpful as well if you're working on things over here, so you can auto sum. Hold, and it will click, and it will give you your answer down here below. Okay, so that's one that's super helpful. I'm just undoing to get all of those fonts out of there. Again, leave questions below and I will try and help you the best that I can. Technical jargon is obviously hard via the internet, but I'd be more than happy to help you. So if this is helpful for you, the tutorial style, let me know and I'll look at doing some more of these different kind of tutorial videos. Check the links below, go to my blog, download your own. You can have your own course of study. You can change it to fit your family's needs, and I hope that it will bless you in planning your homeschool year. If you are watching this and you're like, I haven't even remotely thought about next year, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow, don't worry about it. You have tons of time. Um, my kids just kind of started asking what we were going to look at, and I bought a couple things that were on sale, so we just kind of started looking at our planning. But I won't buy most of my curriculum until June after our homeschool convention. And we start school in July. So you have plenty of time. Don't freak out if you haven't thought about next year. I just want to get this out there if you are looking for those kinds of things. So we have some new curriculum coming down the pipeline at our house, and I'm hoping to get some videos done on that soon because I'm excited to share with you what we are doing. So thanks for sticking with me. And I hope it is warmer where you are than where it is here. But if you're stuck in the cold like we are, you can look at homeschool curriculum. So let me know what questions you have. I'd love to help if I can. Happy homeschooling.